Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Hosted by Pastor Lester Lewis, co-host Charlize Wilkerson and Leroy Carey. Produced by David Humphreys. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
Blessings to you, viewers. My name is Pastor Lester Lewis, and I am your host for today's show, Ask the Messengers. This show is all about addictions and recovery. Providing information to you, the viewer, whether you're struggling with an addiction or whether you may have someone in your family, or maybe you just simply want to know what is addiction and what is it all about. And so today we have some information from real people sharing their real stories. And that's why the show is called Ask the Messengers, because they have a real message to deliver to each and every one of you. And so this is so important because we realize something is that there is a need for this type of programming. And so this show is not scripted. This is real people sharing their real stories. And so we also want you to know that you can contact us here at Ask the Messengers. The information is on the screen. Feel free to either go online or pick up the phone and call. We would love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear your comments or your concerns that you may have regarding addictions. Listen, today's show, we've got a great show lined up. We're going to talk about the warning signs of someone who is addicted. And listen, I believe that there are warning signs all over the place. There are stop signs, there are construction signs. Sometimes we pay attention, sometimes we don't. But this show is all about acknowledging what those signs are so that we can know exactly when someone may be in the place of addiction. And so, listen, we want you to take a look at this very quick clip, and we're going to show some information about those who have been going through and addicted themselves, and now they as well have a testimony to share. Watch this, and we'll be right back.
What was my drug of choice? Opiates and marijuana. How did active addiction affect my relationship with my family? It tore my life apart, you know, made me do a lot of things and go against a lot of my morals and values that growing up you'd never think you'd cross into those lines, and you would like to separate yourself saying, oh, I would never do that. But when you're in the grips of the disease, you end up going to bottoms and things you've never done before. Like, you know, stealing money from my family, or taking things out of the house, or, you know, just telling all kinds of lies to go pick up drugs. Just the kind of stuff you have to do, and the fast lifestyle, it really consumes you. Getting high becomes a 24-hour job. And it takes up all your time, and then when you do go to work to make a little bit of money, all you're thinking about is getting off of work and getting high. So then you do things to get money some extra away from your work, and start shooting moves inside of a place of business, you know, that's paying you good money to be there, but you are trying to see every extra way you can make $1 out of there.
Today with me on the show, I've got a great guy, someone who is absolutely well-versed in addictions and knows so much, and I'm so glad to have him here as a co-host today, Mr. Leroy Carey. Leroy, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, Pastor Lewis. It's good seeing you again. We are going to try to do a little segment on to help grandmothers and mothers, right, and cousins and people that have no idea what signs they might have to look for when one of their loved ones might be addicted. Right. We have on the show today, I have Karen, who has 27 years of uninterrupted recovery in the recovery community. And I have Dwight, who is a very personal friend of mine who has a long-term in recovery. And those are my guests today that's going to talk about these warning signs.
All right, well, welcome to the show, guys. We're excited about what you guys going to bring to the table today. And Leroy, come on, let's get into this thing, man.
You know, I needed to ask Karen quick. Tell me some of the things that you saw in yourself before you got to realize that you had an addiction.
Wow. I can remember, just like it was yesterday, some of the things that happened with me. The change, first of all, with the relationships. You know, where I once had relationships from elementary, junior high, and high school, the good group of people, my relationships changed over to the other side of the tracks. I started hanging out with people that my parents probably would have never approved of. And even hygiene. It even went to the physical hygiene where I really cared about how I looked and, you know, taking care of myself. And one of the things, another sign of my addiction, I didn't care so much anymore. Leroy, I didn't care so much, all the way down to the failing in school, the skipping school, the lying to my parents, and then the stealing, the manipulation, the alienation from family functions. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
So Karen, let me ask you this. So would you say that when you started, was it just trying to fit in?
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Actually, I've heard people over the years say that it's hereditary. I beg the difference. That's not true. Neither my mother or father were addicts. So, I mean, it's a choice that I made to fit in with the cool crowd.
Right. Right.
You know, the cool crowd. I was born and raised in a biracial home. My mom white, my dad black. So as a result of being called a lot of names like Oreo and half-breed and things of that nature, I chose to get with the crowd that I can do bad with, because then they'll respect me.
Right, right.
You know, they'll protect me.
Right.
And as a result, I started doing everything any and everybody else was doing.
Because one of the things we talked about is that addiction start at any age.
It does. I was full-blown heroin addict at 14 years old.
And see, we have people right now, children, who are trying to fit in, and because of that, they're possibly walking the path that you walked as well.
Exactly, and I see it every day. I work in mental health, I work in substance abuse, and I see it every day. And if I could just get across and allow one child to get this message, it would be just be yourself, be a leader, not a follower. You know, you don't have to go the roads we went. You don't have to be accepted. Today you call it peer pressure. You know, it's a lot of peer pressure. You don't have to be accepted. And I see the warning signs. I mean, it's close to as home in my family. I have two 17-year-old grandkids, and I have brothers and sisters, and at one time it's 5 of us siblings. At one time, and I'm talking years ago, because my brother got, what, 30 years now? At one time it was all 5 of us siblings in one room getting high. And we all looked at each other and said, how did we get here? Wow. You know, so the warning signs is definitely there.
Dwight, give us a little insight on the warning sign that you had early in your recovery and early in your addiction that you can share with us.
Well, you know, I was sitting here and I was thinking, and I remember thinking that drugs would be the solution to my addiction. And I didn't understand the difference between drugs and the addiction, and how how the drugs stopped my thinking from the process of the addiction giving me thoughts and ideas. Mm-hmm. I always thought I could do what I wanted to do. And wherever that came from, I had a choice, but I changed my choices. I seen a lifestyle that I wanted, and I decided I would live in that lifestyle. That's after being in the ministry. That's after going through a whole lot of stuff with God and all of that. And what I really realized was, guess what? I was in denial that God was God.
So are you saying that you were in ministry?
Yes.
Serving God?
Yes.
And still,
go ahead.
And addicted to drugs?
Yes. Of course, I didn't stay there, because me and God, we got this thing going on. This ain't gonna work out, and I don't want to be walking around like this or something, you know. But I I wanted to say that because of the addiction, I use drugs. And the addiction is a denial that anything's wrong with me. Everything I'm doing is okay. I can't see reality anymore. I'm starting to live in oblivion in my thinking. And when I take the drug, it brings me back to what's normal, nothing. And the crowd I wanted to stick with was people that wasn't worried about what was normal. I was more familiar with what wasn't normal, that became normal. And then I found out I had a drug addiction because the drug addiction was the only thing that could help the addiction by itself. But then I found out addiction and insanity they parallel with each other. They need one another to function.
Wow.
Okay. You know, that's very interesting to hear you say. See, people, most laymen who have never used drugs or anything will think that the addiction is immediately the drugs, when it's really not. Addiction comes in all types of forms. That's why we want to really help with the grandmothers and tell them some of the warning signs that you might see in your child or even in your grandkids. What might you think, Karen, would be a good warning sign that your child or grandson or anybody is using marijuana?
A great warning sign would be a decrease in the grades, the schoolwork going down, the lying, things coming up out the house missing, like $20 out mama, grandma purse, the change in friends and relationships, the good kids, and now the parent or grandparent is noticing where are these people coming from. So, I mean, I think a warning sign off the rip would be like, let it rip, the grades going down. The grades going down.
Dwight, tell me one warning sign that is obvious that someone's using heroin.
Can't trust them.
All right.
Under no circumstances.
Listen. I want to thank you guys really quickly. Listen, we're going to be right back. Listen, this conversation is wonderful, but we're going to be right back right after these messages.
Sorry.
Stay tuned for more of Ask the Messengers.
I'm Artesia Washington, and I'd like to welcome you to Irvine Head Injury, where restoring you to your previous level of functioning is our goal. We offer services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language pathology, aquatic therapy, massage therapy, and counseling. An automobile accident is an unfortunate event. If you feel that you or a loved one can benefit from our services, you can be reached at 248-415-2500. We look forward to hearing from you.
God's World, a Detroit institution at West 7 Mile and Schaefer, says get them while they last. The Old Bombers 2017 commemorative calendar is going fast. Get your church supplies, communion cups, tithe envelopes, Bibles, inspirational books by top authors. Call in your orders at 313-862-8220. Shop online at godsworldsuperstore.org. God's World, for all your inspirational needs.
Welcome back to Ask the Messengers. Once again, I am your host, Pastor Lester Lewis. And listen, today we have been talking about the warning signs for addictions. And so listen, we're going to go right back to a few words with this testimony. Once again, this is powerful. Pay attention. Watch this.
The most scary moment in my drug use was overdosing. You don't even plan on it. You know, it was such a small amount of drugs, and it was obviously not what I thought it was. And I remember doing it and feeling good for about 5 seconds, and then I hit the ground. And I woke up in the back of an ambulance, getting woken up, you know, telling me I just overdosed. And I remember waking up and crying. And I also remember, you know, being dead in that moment for about 15 minutes, getting CPR and coming and seeing a light. And getting brought back to life and going to the hospital. I went into the hospital and they let me out 45 minutes later. And the real crazy thing about that is through that experience, like I said, until you become thoroughly beaten, you won't become willing. Even through that experience of overdosing and almost dying, I walked out of the hospital and went and got more drugs.
Listen, we're back, and Leroy and I are back with our guests, and we've been talking about the warning signs of addiction. I think we need to get right back into the conversation because we got so much going on here. People need to know this
Pastor
information.
Lewis, you know, Dwight, you made me kind of laugh when you said just not trusting. It's more to it than that, am I correct?
Well, I think after you tried everything you could, you see the distrust in their spirit, that they're not spiritually conscious of what they're doing. They're not showing up for what they need to show up for. You're looking at their health. You're looking at the changes in their words. You're looking at their mannerisms, which now confronts the spirit of my spirit to your spirit. And if I know what I'm doing is right and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing right, then I understand that something's wrong. Now, I think that addiction changes the relationship completely between me and you or me and anybody. And once that happens, I isolate. I stay inside. I won't communicate. I won't say very much. I'll go to where I find my happiness is within myself and my thinking that tells me I'm thinking correctly. I don't need to talk to you because you don't understand me anyway.
Well, tell me, where did the term nodding come from? Where did that come from?
It came from I'm satisfied.
Right.
Okay.
So nodding.
Not, if I can.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that it also came from I found relief in what I believe. I don't have to listen to you.
But nodding is a physical sign that something is wrong. Am I correct?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
In a spiritual condition that makes it mentally possible for it to happen physically.
You're gonna
Okay, go back again. Go back again, and
Hey, you finna lose us
take
all,
back.
Dwight.
Okay, well, let me be more period, right? I don't like anybody. So I don't want to be around anybody. I want to isolate. When I'm nodding, I'm isolating. I've reached the ultimate high that I want to get to. I just heard the guy talk about he died. They brought him back in the ambulance. He was satisfied with that. He went back and used again.
Right.
So that's what I mean. It's a threefold disease. I understand. And I also understand that it's important for me to remember that if I don't trust you, it's because I've done the best I can for you. And your actions are showing me what's going on with you. It's no longer what I think because my sympathy that I have for you, my love I have for you will outweigh what I think. But when I know I can't trust you, now I'm not going to say nodding's not a sign that you've used drugs, but we said addiction. And drugs go together. That's all I was saying. All right. I hope I didn't lose nobody.
You know, Karen, tell me something. You know, I used cocaine for a long time. Fortunately, God blessed me and brought me out of that. Tell me some of the warning signs of people that use cocaine.
Wow, where do I start? The warning signs of cocaine. First of all, cocaine is what we use a term of upper. Cocaine has you very hyper, and one is too many, and 1,000 is never enough. You can't get enough.
So upper means
upper as in
you,
when they talked about nodding, that's a direct result of opiate, of heroin that have you down. So cocaine is the opposite, it has you up. One of the warning signs of using cocaine would be extra hyper. Extra hyper. Stealing is a warning sign, once again, because you need more and more. Lying, not showing up for no functions, and just on the go, just can't sit still. You know, because the cocaine, I would have red flags up if my child, lack of sleep, very much so a lack of sleep. Once again, number one, grades drop, not interested in nothing that they used to be interested in. I was on cocaine, and when I was, my interests and my friends and my relationship all changed.
You know, that is very interesting to hear that, because I know for a fact that anybody that uses cocaine is not going to tell the truth. So you know, that is a good sign that if you catch them in numerous lies, that's probably a sign that they're probably using something that they have no business. But tell me some of the things that that's happened to you. Have you ever had to help somebody after you've seen the warning sign?
Oh God, my son. It happened right in my own house.